Okay, beautiful. Well, as we start off, I'd love to just ask you a little question that I ask everyone who comes on the podcast, and it's what makes you feel most connected to your authentic power?
Wow. Well, my instinct is to reply in a humorous way, which would be wearing a banana suit and leading parades through cities where I'm a total stranger.
I love that.
And I've done that through multiple European cities, in Mexico. This is really how I became the party scientist. I would take this really loud, heavy sound system with me into the streets. And sometimes I'd be totally alone, and I would get hundreds of people holding hands, singing songs, dancing with me, following me through the streets. And that really convinced me that people, like most people, are playing at like 5% of their true power. Like
Mhm,
we assume all these things are impossible, but it's incredible what we can achieve if we go up to the boundary of social norms, right?
yeah. Yeah, I love that. I'm like so inspired by that because I've been wanting to go out of my comfort zone more and like dance in public more and just not care what others think so much. And I'd love to hear just like what inspired you to start doing that. Because I think like to the average Joe, they're like, this guy's insane. But I love it,
Right?
yeah, and I personally find it like super motivating to see.
Yeah, my main inspiration was attending a party, the best party on earth. It's called the Decentralized Dance Party. And um, it's run by my friend. His name's Gary LaChance.
Mhm.
And he was the one who taught me this principle that we can create these social environments which are so engaging and so fun that people don't need to drink alcohol anymore. And he actually has a party manifesto where he has all these principles for gathering design. And so I went to one of his parties and I actually crowd surfed through a SkyTrain station. I
Mhm.
also danced in a public fountain. Um, and after that, I started a group called Party for Health, and I started to throw public parties. They went totally viral on social media, and that was the beginning. Like, and the irony is that Facebook led to it. Like, Facebook just made it go so viral.
Yeah, that is so amazing. I love that. So it's just so crazy how you can take that one step out of your comfort zone and then it turns into this whole other like way of life and new thing that you're embodying that you never would have guessed you would have been in. And I'd also love just for anyone who's listening too, if you could share like anything that has really helped you like become more of this joyful person and embody this like joyful life that you live now too, like also being like a joy scientist as well. I'd love to know more about that too.
It's funny as you say that, Joy Scientist, I'm like, should I rebrand? Because yeah, because that's so so me. Like I am a joy scientist. I don't party like most people party. And so it's so ironic that I'm called the party scientist because I don't stay up late. I don't do drugs. I
Hmm.
don't poison my body, right? Let's be real. Like partying is not healthy for the 99% of people who do it.
Yeah.
It's it's just, and it's totally consumed by social media norms, by the obsession with status, with getting laid. Like there's so many layers to it, right? Um, but yeah, for me, it all starts with biology. It all starts with biology. Like joy is a biological state. And if your body's inflamed, you're dehydrated, you're malnourished, um, if your body is constantly being bombarded with poison, whether that's sugar, whether that's processed food, whether that's sedentary behavior, whether that's an irregular circadian rhythm, like you're not going to experience much joy if your body's just not in a good biological state. And so, you know, I just went to a clinic yesterday and I did this thing called VO2 max training and
Mhm.
I tested it. It's you wear this mask and it tests your body's ability to consume oxygen. And it turns out like I'm in the top 0.1% percentile. Um, so technically, like my body operates at like an elite Olympian level. And I think that has to do with my joy. Like I have so much energy and joy because my body is just working well. And most people, their their health habits are shit. Like let's just be real. Like modern culture is plagued with self-sabotage. And, you know, that doesn't mean it's your fault. And that doesn't mean you're worth nothing if you self-sabotage. We all do it. But it's like this is like why are we trying to spread joy and have relationships when we don't even have our biology under control? Like if we haven't figured that out, maybe we should figure that out first. And then the second thing, you know, once you master that biology, then, yeah, it's about reprogramming how we perceive the world, how we make sense of relationships, of events in our lives. And the best practice I've discovered for that is a specific type of self-reflection involving giving yourself feedback and critiquing your behavior. So this is not journaling, because journaling, let's just be real, like a lot of journaling is rumination and self-pity. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
And for some people, it helps them process. But for a lot of people, you know, it's just kind of like sulking,
Yeah, you can just
right?
like, keep going in the same pattern like over and over. Yeah, unless like you start to shift, it's not really going to do anything.
The point of journaling should be to gain power in processing events versus like basically just spewing negativity on a page. But it's also good to do that. The research on journaling is really promising. But the point is developing a practice of giving yourself feedback and making sense of the world in a way that makes you happy. And I do that every day. I go back to yesterday and I go through the entire day and I make sense of it in an optimistic, grateful way.
Yeah.
I make sense of my haters. I make sense of my parents sometimes being difficult and not, you know, and judging my career path. I make sense of the guy that flips me off in traffic, right? So that's like the fundamental practice that I've discovered, and I don't think many people have a daily self-reflection practice. I think they're just journaling, which is too unintentional. Like journaling doesn't have an actual goal versus self-reflection where you're critiquing yourself and retelling the story that has more of a goal.
Yeah. So when you're going through and doing that reflection, is there anything like specific that you ask yourself or any specific process you have that helps you to kind of flip the story around and see it in a more optimistic point of view or see it in a way that like it benefited you to go through that?
Yeah, I mean, expanding the time horizon is important.
Mhm.
Um, for me, for me, it's a lot about dealing with human stupidity. Like, let's just be real. Like
Yeah.
that causes the most pain for people.
Hmm.
It's their relationships, ironically, right? Relationships are a double-edged sword. And so for me, you know, one of my mantras is, what is this person coaching me on? How is this person my teacher?
Mm.
How is this person's behavior teaching me what I want to embody? Right? And so those are questions I ask. And so when someone does something stupid or they're distracted and they're on their phone or they ask no questions, they're not reciprocal in their curiosity. They just teach me how to be a better party scientist because they're doing the opposite. So that's a big piece. Like what are people demonstrating in the world that I don't want to do? And what are people demonstrating in the world that I want to practice more of? So that's a big thing. But it's not there. I don't approach this practice with questions. I approach this practice by going through the entire day. I chronicle the entire day and I go through the events. And the subtext here is every event, like if I have a coffee meeting with someone, I will celebrate how I ask good questions. And I will identify behaviors in the other person that I liked or that I disliked, right? If someone was neurotic and stressed, I will say to myself, like, Jacques, because I speak in third person, I would say, Jacques aspires to cognitively reduce his stress, to complain less, and to be calmer and more grounded. Um, and this person has shown Jacques that that's not what he wants. He doesn't want to manufacture upsetness because that's what a lot of people do, right?
Mhm. I love that. I love going into the third person too, because I feel like it kind of helps you like step out of it a little more and be like more of an
Oh
observer
yeah.
of yourself and helps you to like not be so like I guess connected and kind of like give yourself the space to like get a bird's eye view as well of the situation.
Yeah. Tell me, yeah, what does your journaling practice look like? Because journaling is a fundamental personal growth practice. I in my world, and so I'm curious what you've been doing and what has been your strategy there.
Yeah. So journaling definitely for the first like couple years of getting into really connecting with myself more and wanting to dive deeper was exactly how you were talking about it. Was I would just go on and on about any problem that I had and it wouldn't really shift. Like it was a great way to vent, but just continuously going into that and continuously just like ruminating on that honestly wasn't that helpful. So I think you were like spot on with that one. But the past 2 years, like something definitely shifted. I started to realize that journaling was a way that I could actually like channel information more and feel really connected to my true self, which I feel like was underneath all of that venting and just going in circles. So I think it took some time for me to connect with that part of myself more. And I think just like meditating more and doing like my dance practices have been so helpful as well. So now I find that I'll still write about things that like aren't ideal or things that I'm working through that I'm not loving because I don't think we can't avoid those things. We still have to acknowledge them, but I'll notice myself start to shift. Like I'll write it down, but then I'll notice being like, okay, but like see how this is working in your favor or like see like where you can like do something here to actually like help yourself and support yourself. And that's just happened naturally, which is really incredible, honestly. Like I didn't plan that at all. It just started to happen over time. So journaling for myself has been really big and powerful in my life for that reason, I would say.
Yeah, what I'm hearing in that is there's a lot of cognitive reappraisal that you're doing, and this is like a term. This I would say is the most important like happiness skill, which is replacing the default interpretation of a situation with a different story. So really, it's just transforming the story we have in our heads about the situation. You know,
Yeah.
one thing I was thinking about too is journaling is very cognitive, it's very heady, and you and I, we both agree that somatic practices are just as important or more important.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, and that's why I say, right, like once you master the biology and you're moving and expressing and emotions are moving through you and you're not poisoning your body all the time, then it's about, okay, like let's transform my mindset and let's create some new neurocircuitry, right? Some new patterns in the brain. So
Mhm.
that's how I see the step-by-step process.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you saying that the biological part, like that part needs to come first before you start like reprogramming? What is your take on that?
I'm gonna share like a controversial statement, but I think a lot of depression, anxiety, and suicide would disappear if people were perfectly healthy.
Mm,
So I would say, and what I mean by that is not just like nutrition. I also mean I don't just mean like, oh, like do you exercise? It's like what gut bugs do you have in your intestines? Like this very granular biomarker perspective, because I'm a total nerd, right? I'm like a joy neuroscientist. So I would just say that once we just get the basics right, a lot of our mental issues go away.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely resonate with that a lot because like I stopped drinking alcohol like, 4 years ago, like right when I turned 20.
Yeah.
And it was such a game changer for myself personally because I realized how much I relied on it to get me through like social anxiety or to have fun when I went out somewhere. Like I didn't realize how much it affected me. So it's just really crazy to like notice the shift too when you stop doing that. And like what you're saying as well, like it is poison for your body too. It's like probably one of the worst things we could put in our bodies as well. So, for yourself too, what was your journey like with alcohol and like no longer wanting to participate in that too?
Yeah, congrats on making that decision for yourself.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, and I just want to broaden the conversation. I feel like it used to be for me, I was like all about sobriety and like alcohol is the enemy. And what I've learned is alcohol isn't the enemy. It's more so like this thing inside of us that just wants to distract ourselves and rely on crutches.
Yeah.
And so it's not about alcohol. You can replace alcohol with anything, video games, candy, chips, movies, right? Like so alcohol isn't the enemy. It's this whole category of distractions that serve as crutches to skill and we can replace all that with skill development, right? Um, but definitely like it's one of those crazy, insane social norms.
Yeah.
We like my dad is a doctor and he drinks and smokes and it just blows my mind. Like it blows my mind that an intelligent man is still relying on these. Like you'd think by the age of 70, you'd think that older people would know how to feel how they want to feel because they've had so much time to practice. Even you and I, like I'm 29, you're like what, 25?
I'm turning 24, but yeah.
Okay. So we've had so many years of life to figure out how to feel how we want to feel without destroying our bodies. Like,
Mhm.
there's so much time to learn.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
but yeah, just you have a comment? May I jump in?
Oh no, oh, you can keep going. All good.
Yeah, so with alcohol, it was mainly the embarrassment I experienced when my sister and father would drink. And by no means did they have issues with the alcohol. I just looked at them and I was like, I don't want to be like that at all. Um, of course, you and I, we're super lucky. We live in North America. One way I was specifically lucky was I had a teacher in high school convince me to like go through a bunch of grades in 1 year. So I did a bunch, I got ahead. I got ahead when I was in high school, and then I had time to take a nutrition course, a university nutrition course. And essentially, it was just like, how do all these things affect your body? How do minerals affect your body? And I remember reading the chapter on alcohol, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, how is this legal?
It's
Like,
crazy.
this kills babies. This makes babies' brains like maldevelop. How is this legal? It just blew my mind. And that's when I quit alcohol because I learned how insane it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is so crazy too, like how normalized it is as well. And like just what you're saying as well about like just distracting yourself too. I definitely have realized so much like on my like personal growth journey so far is like how much we try to distract ourselves. And like phones are no better too. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
scrolling is such a huge one as well.
totally. I mean, really, like, your generation, you're like a Gen Z. Um, there's all this research about how they're drinking less and they're hanging out with their friends less and all this stuff. And that's like a statistical average. My hypothesis is that people are drinking less because they're spending more time on screens,
I feel like that is so accurate. That makes so much sense.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I would just like love to know is like just off the top of your head, if you had to give someone like one piece of advice for adding more joy to their life, like something they could start today, what would that be?
Okay, two things come to mind.
Mhm.
The first is find your PPP, meaning your positivity peer pod.
Love that.
This is something we teach at Joy Camp,
Mhm.
right? Like, just hang out with positive people and they're going to shape your brain.
Yeah.
Hang out with upbeat, positive people. Stop hanging out with negative, complaining, neurotic people.
Yeah.
That's it.
I
That's
like
it.
that.
And then
Nice
the,
and simple.
right? And then the second thing is we know that like when we have an irregular sleep cycle, it leads to mood disorders. And it's like a significant correlate with psychiatric disorders, including like depression and anxiety. So I think we need to take more seriously our sleep cycles, and we should stop watching movies until 1 a.m. on the weekends, and then expecting our body to operate effectively through the week when we're just constantly confusing it. So I think in the future, like dancing will be done in the morning, and the whole city lights will shut off. Like in the future there will be much more research on this circadian, like building design and everything. I hope will operate around our circadian rhythms.
Yeah, I hope so too. That sounds amazing. I am totally for all of the dancing and everything happening in the morning because oh, I went out last weekend with some friends because I still go out every now and then, and I went dancing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I went to bed at 3 in the morning, and that definitely was not good for me.
But you stayed up sober. That's like an awesome achievement. Or not.
The next day though, you just feel so tired and you
Yeah,
feel the instant effects of when you go out of this like great routine that you've created with your body too. So it's like your body will always remind you, which is the nice thing. Your body's always trying to guide
totally. Totally.
you. Yeah. Well, I think that's all that I had to ask you, but I'd love if you could share just like where everyone can find you, how they can connect with you as well, just moving forward.
Yeah, just the party scientist everywhere. Social media is the fake land of the party scientist. So I'd encourage anyone to sign up for my daily joy dose, which is free. It's a short, evidence-based joy science tip in the inbox every day. So yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to have you on today and to get to meet you and be in your amazing party.
Yeah.
It's been so great.
This was such a dense conversation. Quick but useful.
Yes.